Hey Barons, welcome to Bear and Buzz, the Crusader podcast. I'm your host Kiara.
I'm your co-host Aime.
Be sure to check out our website, bonitavistacrusader.org, to stay updated with news, sports, and much more. Today, our special guest is
Sam O'Loughlin.
So today's episode is part 2 of our cancel culture series. We'll be going further in depth on different celebrities and influencers who are or were canceled or face controversy, and just discuss the morality of it all and more. So we're gonna start off with something very recent that happened, which was Sabrina Carpenter at Coachella. Do you want to give some context?
Okay, so for context, Sabrina was performing one of her songs on her piano, and someone from the crowd gave out a cultural yell. I'm pretty sure it was an Arabic or Middle Eastern kind of yodel supposedly, that's meant to be in celebration. And according to her, she said that so clearly Sabrina Carpenter was weird at the action that woman took in the middle of her song. So she called it weird, which got her a lot of backlash, especially on the internet. And it goes hand in hand. There's two perspectives about it, saying whether she handled it well or not.
In my opinion, I think she handled it well, because she came out with an apology saying that she had no clue what it was, and that okay, well, now I know more about their culture, right? You live and you learn type of stuff. Sam, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I agree. I think that she handled it pretty well. I think that having the opportunity to learn from a mistake is definitely beneficial. I feel like she handled it much better than other artists would have.
Yeah, I agree. How about you, Aime?
For a second, I lean more towards it being sort of unacceptable. I mean, straight up calling someone's culture weird in front of in front of thousands of people, it's very, I would say, plain out rude. But I do get why it was very confusing for her, because she was in the middle of the song, so the last thing you would expect would be that action. So I get it why she sort of reacted that way, but I'm pretty sure her wording could have been way better.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Moving on, we're gonna discuss. So this one was also very recent. It was David, the singer. Basically, for context, he murdered this 14-year-old girl named Celeste, and he's been on trial for a long time.
Almost approximately, I think, over a year now. And this is barely until this month they started persecution. And news of, it wasn't until yesterday, I'm pretty sure, on April 20th, that authorities proclaimed that he might be the first person in 20 years in California to receive the death penalty.
Whoa, that's actually so crazy.
I mean, the young girl, I have so much empathy for her family, because again, she was a victim of violence, and it
grooming
was
too.
Yeah, grooming
honestly.
as well. And a lot of people, when this situation first escalated, a lot of people were actually in denial that he didn't, that he did it. So they were like, no, I'm gonna still listen to his music. But then now, as the news is coming out, it just gets worse.
Honestly, I was one of those people who really wanted it to be false, because I actually I really love his music, so it was kind of heartbreaking for me to find out about the entire thing. But I'm not gonna sit here and complain oh, it's controversial to listen to his music now when someone was literally murdered. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually feel like it was pretty crazy, right after the information was coming out, especially after they had found her corpse in the back of his car, that he had continued going on with his tour and performing while all of these allegations and evidence was circling against him, especially his lyrics themselves being very incriminating. And I feel like it's just crazy that people value listening to an artist over a literal life at this point.
Yeah, I completely agree. And a lot of people came out saying how, like, the entire internet basically solved the case before the police did anything about it, which is also very sad. Obviously, we don't know, like, the behind the scenes of it all, but I think we can all agree that he should have been persecuted a lot sooner. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's very sad because also the way that she died was very gruesome. We're not going to cover that because it might not be appropriate
This
for
is turning into like a
Yeah,
true crime
true
podcast.
crime. But it's very sad to see that that you have a point, Sam, that people do prioritize their music over the lives of people. Like any artist could target a specific audience in such a hateful way and people will not care. And that also kind of leads us into Kanye.
Yeah.
He is on his new world tour currently. I saw videos of him perform in LA and everything, and I truly do not get the concept of him because once every blue moon that he'll actually gain conscious from the yay.
Yay.
Yay, yeah, or
So
however you
he
pronounce it.
legally changed his full name to Ye, just like not W. Am I dyslexic? Yeah, Y-E. And basically, if you don't know what he did, he came out with a song called like Hail Hitler, right?
Yeah.
And he has made like anti-Semitic remarks such as "I see good things about Hitler," and just like expressed admiration for him. But he still has supportive fans, so people think, oh, it's because he apologized. But what do you think about it?
I feel like, okay, this is going to sound crazy, but I feel like South Park made a really good commentary on this already. I feel like their whole bit with Cartman and his Cupid Ye instead of Cupid Me really showed like how impactful Kanye's controversies have been, especially on the Jewish community. Like outright saying that like he is supporting someone who was responsible for the death of thousands of people and identifying with that group is actually insane that he still has people. Like, don't get me wrong, cancel culture has gotten blown out of proportion at this point, but the amount of stuff that he said about specific cultures and targeting those cultures, I don't know how people can still support.
I agree, and honestly, like, I noticed a really big difference between, like, women and men being canceled. I feel like women always get canceled so much, like, more easily than men, you know, because Kanye West can say all these things. He still has a huge platform. Another one is Chris Brown, who is Rihanna's ex-husband, but he, like, beat her almost to death, and he still's, like, selling out stadiums. Meanwhile, there's artists like Chappell Roan, who, do you want to?
Yeah, I'll cover it. So if you didn't know that there was a fiasco that happened with supposedly her, which was her bodyguard harassing the daughter of a really famous Brazilian soccer player. And after that, Brazilian authorities and the government announced that after her performance, she would not be welcome in Brazil any longer. So, as a result, the bodyguard wasn't even her bodyguard. And so, supposedly, it wasn't even her bodyguard. I see a lot of perspectives on it. And actually, a lot of other artists have commented on this situation. And it's a lot of women artists, such as like Doechii. She put out a TikTok saying, oh, Doechii and Doja Cat support Chappell Rowan fully because they feel like there are more concerning things to be worrying about, and there's such a stigma towards women in the industry. It's horrible because they do one slight thing that might be slightly controversial, but it's not physically or mentally harming anyone, and the whole world just bashes them. However, if it's someone like Kanye, if it's a man, things get taken differently and they get the upper hand and everyone just laughs it off and thinks it's funny. Because I actually did see some people, I'm not going to name names, but some people that I do know did attend his concert. So,
Yeah, I think that just proves that when it comes to celebrities, I think women are held to a much higher standard than men. And the last thing, I'm going to circle back to David real quick with one last question. So people say if you listen to his music, you're basically just like giving him money and supporting him in that way. But if he were to receive the death penalty and die, do you guys think that listening to his music is still like supporting him?
I feel like that's a hard question. I feel like the money isn't going directly to him since he would be receiving the death penalty. However, it would probably still be going to whatever company he's signed with, which has, yet that I've heard of, released a statement regarding it. So I feel like even if he does receive that penalty, it's still technically supporting the ideological like response.
yeah, I feel like even after death, like, I'm not saying like, well, with a lot of artists, once they pass away, people still acknowledge their music, and whether they were good or bad, that's still supporting them. Like Michael Jackson, and his movie is coming out.
Yeah.
Like still, like people bring it back, still supporting these artists that have already passed away, and whether this is listening to their music or buying physical copies or media of their music. So I would consider it, yes, supporting the artist.
Those are some good answers. I'm honestly torn because I want to know like who the money is going towards, but it's also like at the same time, like, I'm imagining for David if I was to keep listening to his music and then just like looking Celeste in the eyes. This sounds corny, but like it's honestly really, it can be immoral or it can feel immoral.
Yeah.
That is a wrap for our part 2, which is the final part, I assume, of our cancel culture series. Thanks for listening to what we had to say, and we hope you enjoyed.
Bye.